and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am your host, Data T, and this is my channel, The Good Guys. Today's story, guys, comes out of Avondale, Arizona. Okay, title reads, Avondale gas station clerk shoots armed robber suspect, the police say. Before we get into this story, guys, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, a comment, subscribe, and hit me up on Twitter. I wouldn't mind to talk. With that said, guys, let us begin with today's story.
Alert is an investigation continuing in the West Valley this morning.
It was called out as a shooting. Anita is live on the scene, 107th Avenue and Indian School Road, with details at this hour. Anita?
Incredible story, you guys. I just talked to the gentleman in the red hoodie. That is the clerk who was working here at the Chevron around 5:15 this morning when he says a suspect walked in, pointed a gun at him, and then subsequently pointed a gun at a customer. And that is when this clerk tells me he pulled out his own gun and fired a shot at the suspect. Avondale PD still working the scene, processing all the information, but they have confirmed that the suspect was shot. They do believe once taken to the hospital. We're waiting on a condition. They tell us that they're reviewing all the footage and talking a little bit about what happened out here this morning. We talked to Brian on camera just a few moments ago. Here's how he described the moment the suspect walked into the store.
He said because he had some kind of, it wasn't even a mask, it was like cloth, so it was very, very, very like blocked off. But I could hear him say rob money, so. But in all reality, he didn't need to say anything. The moment he pointed the gun at me, it was pretty obvious what he was there for.
Yeah, so the clerk tells us.
Guys, before we get into what he actually did, okay, because we know he was able to use his firearm successfully, okay. Again, we are seeing a volume of people. They are carrying their firearm on them, even when they are at work. This is going to be necessary to talk about as we move forward, because maybe companies are going to have to start to realize that they're going to have to start putting this, maybe they put this in their policy, because I got to say, if they are going to have in their policy that you can't bring firearms, there better be a way, a damn good way, to protect your employee. Honestly, people who work overnight, you have to be extremely cautious, more cautious than everybody else during the day. Okay, the song that the freaks come out at night is absolutely true. Most of these violent crimes, they do happen in the odd hours at night, in the early morning. That's where these criminals thrive during this time, because they think this is the least likely, or the least likely that they're going to be caught. So they will operate at these times. Crime will happen more so at these times. And, this is where we have to get in to, should you be out at night? Should you be out at night? 10, 11 o'clock, hard. There's some hard things that I make sure that, hey, man, if I'm out after 12 o'clock, I need to be highly alert. After midnight, 11 o'clock is usually also a pretty high sign for me. But, man, 12 midnight, after that time, you need to be on high alert. Okay? Those are one of the stupids of being outside after night. Out after night, and then maybe being at a club, that's pretty stupid. Also, drinking at that time after 12, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Guys, those times are magnets for bad people. You have to know that. Yes, I know you got stuff going on during the day, and yes, we have brazen criminals who do stuff during the day, but during this time at night, you got to be extra careful. Let's see what he says.
that when the suspect pointed a gun at the customer is really when he left him with no choice, and he knew that he needed to protect the customer as well as himself. He says he trains with his weapon because he does work that graveyard shift, and so he knew what he needed to do and is very prepared to do this. And he says that for him it's about situational awareness. When you work a shift like this, you have to be extremely cautious and aware of all of your surroundings. There is crime scene.
Guys, I wanna congratulate this man. This man, he said all the right things to this reporter. Thank goodness he said it. It is on record. I'm glad, but everything he said is 100% on the money. Situational awareness, training with his firearm. He understood the time that he was in and that he needed to be self-aware. Good job, sir. You are a good guy. You are a good guy. Thank goodness. This is fantastic that he said this. Let us finish out the story.
There are cameras inside, PD reviewing all of the footage. So, of course, they're going to compare the story, Ryan's story, along with the footage. But at this point, they're telling us that everything he has told us is what happened. So we hopefully will have a representative from PD talking to us within the next hour.
You don't hear about that very often, right? That you have a clerk who's carrying his own weapon and knows how to use it and then used it during the commission of a crime.
Yeah.
Well, on this side of the aisle, we do hear about it, and we hear about it a whole lot more so than what you're used to seeing, sir. And kudos to the reporter for saying that. Kudos to all of those reporters who are reporting this, saying, hey, you don't normally see that. And it's true. We are seeing an uptick of people who work taking their gun to work. Especially being in the service industry where you're dealing with a whole bunch of people. If you're not dealing with that many people, then I can understand it. Maybe you don't really need it. But even that, I don't agree with it, because guess what? What about the travel to and from your workplace? Right? Who knows what you interact with on your way to work? Who knows what you interact with on your way back home? Sometimes I wish there should be it really should be constitutional carry. It should be all the gun laws. And here's something that I'll say. I think all the gun laws that are currently on the books, whatever they may be, I believe they are all constitutional. What I want is all of the gun laws that come after the Second Amendment. I want them all repealed. I want every last one repealed. Machine guns, all of that, everybody should be able to have them. That is my stance. That is my opinion. All this stuff just restricts us. It restricts the law-abiding citizen, the guy that just wants to go to work. That's all he wants to do. And he's got to be dealing with this bullshit. Where was the goddamn store owner who puts a security guard in front of the store and say, okay, here is a physical deterrent. Here is a person that's there with a firearm. And guess what? You don't need to worry about bringing your gun. There's somebody there. But he didn't have it. He did not have that. So he brought his gun. And I believe that should be the right of all citizens, the ability to protect yourself. But sadly, this is not really happening. At least in the state of Arizona, they do have a constitutional carry. But, what about other states? What about that joker country, California? Oh, my God. Anyway, guys, I'm a little riled up, I guess, for this whole week. But kudos to this young man. Thank goodness he is a good guy. I'm glad that these guys covered this. And I really wish it would make mainstream news, meaning, the big heads would cover stuff like this. But, they don't want to do that. They want to keep this very small. And so the local TV stations will pick them up, but it won't be in the mainstream news. Anyway, the good thing is we hear about it. And the good thing is you guys are seeing this, and I'm glad to bring it to you. Okay? Anyway, remember, good people have guns. Good people should always have guns. And if good people do nothing, there will be no good guys.